get started. Oh, nice. You don't have slides. You're gonna just jump straight into VS Code. Great.
Ready?
Okay. All right. I think we have more people coming in. Just a minute. I'm gonna. Hello, assalamualaikum everyone.
How are you? You were all stuck in the elevator.
I see. Yeah, I think they closed one of the roads near Qatar or something. There was a lot of traffic today. Okay, so we're gonna get right into it. I don't think Fatih needs any introduction, but for those of you who don't know Fatih, he's a senior cloud and AI solution architect working a lot on applications development, DevOps, AI, and all those cool stuff. So he's gonna tell us all about GitHub Copilot. Also, a note for those of you who are fasting tomorrow, Ramadan Mubarak. Just announced that tomorrow is the first day. So I wish you all great Ramadan, and for those who want to leave for prayer, feel free to do so. We're gonna record the session. But we're still gonna have pizza tonight. Maybe more pizza we should order for Sahura.
Maybe celebrate.
Maybe we should order something else to make it special. I'll see. So yeah, Fatih, go ahead.
So, okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome. So I'm going to talk about GitHub Copilot today and how to use it in VS Code. So I don't have any slides. I'm going to jump into right into the VS Code, and I will show you how to use the Copilot in your development projects. And we all know how to use it. We all know how to use it, but it's better to know how to effectively use it, right? So we're going to talk about some of the tips and tricks and some tools to improve the efficiency of this GitHub Copilot and how to utilize it in your projects. So if I put this one here, no, it's better. So I need to use my two hands.
Okay. But can you guys hear in the back?
If you can't hear,
You can't?
let me know, okay?
I think they cannot hear.
Who?
Those.
Come to front. Come front.
We just got a shout out.
Yeah, come to front, because I need to use my both hands. So, GitHub Copilot is our AI tool, help us to develop our projects. So how we're gonna start with the GitHub Copilot. First of all, you need to open an account in the github.com, right? So we have some different levels of the licenses. The free license is free for everyone. If you have a GitHub account, it will be free. But of course, you have some limitations. Like you have a 2,000 requests per month. This is the limitations. What does it mean? That so you will ask a question. This will be one request, right? And then you have asked 2,000 questions per month. When it ends, it ends. Alas, finish. So then if you go to, there are different level of licenses, Pro Plus, Team, and Enterprise. In the Enterprise, you have a lot of usage rights. Some of them are free. But let's say if you go for the GPT-4 models, it's free. You don't need to pay anything. How do you activate it? So the first thing that you need to do is you need to open the VS Code. In the VS Code, you need to go to the extensions and search for the Copilots. Okay. Let me zoom in. Yes, it's better. I believe it's better. And this is the GitHub Copilot chat. This is the only thing that you need to install it in VS Code. The same thing, you can do it for the Visual Studio. So let's say if you are still using Visual Studio, you can go to Visual Studio 2026. This is the latest version. Go to the extensions, install it if it is not already installed. Okay. After you install this extension, you will see a bubble here. Let me close this one. This is the GitHub Copilot chat bubble. You will activate it and you will see this chat window. Of course, it will ask you to log in to your account. You can log in by using this button here. As you can see, these are the accounts that I have in my for GitHub and on the GitHub environment. Okay, so in your case, it's going to be a single your GitHub account. In my case, I have multiple accounts for the demonstration. Okay, so After you activate your account, you will see your rights here. This is the GitHub chat window, which you can use it in your projects. But GitHub is not running only in the VS Code, as I told you. It supports multiple IDEs like IntelliJ. There are other IDEs, or you can also use the CLI, command line interface. So again, if you go to the GitHub website and if you search for the GitHub CLI, you will see the download page. So GitHub, if you search for the GitHub CLI, you will see the download page, which you can download for Windows. Or you can use the winget to download the CLI. So in the CLI, let's say I go to the source repos. Are you able to see it? A little bit bigger. Yeah. So I'm in the D folder right now, repository folder. Okay. So if you say Copilot, let's say dash banner, the banner version is like a fancy one. So it will show us this fancy GitHub Copilot animation in my CLI. At the first time, it will ask you which account you want to use. So it might ask your GitHub handler, GitHub username. It will give you an authentication code and ask you to go to the GitHub and authorize the CLI, command line interface, with your GitHub account. Since I'm already logged in, it's not asking to me. But if you want to see all the commands in this CLI, the thing that you will use is slash commands. When you type slash, you will see all the commands, you see, in this GitHub Copilot CLI window. Let's say currently I am using Cloud Sonnet 4.5, as you can see here. This is the model that I'm using. If you want to change this model, let's say if you want to go for the GPT 5.2, what you need to do is you need to type model. Okay, so, and then you need to type the model name. If you don't know the model, just type a model. It will give you an interactive window, which you can use these models. But again, these models is from your accounts. So if you use the free account, most probably you will see only GPT 4.1, which is the free version. Okay, in my case, I'm using the unlimited version of the GitHub. That's why I'm seeing all of these Cloud models, GPT 5. Even 5.3, which is in preview. Okay, that's the case. And you can also see some numbers here: 1, 0.32, 3, 30, and 0. You see GPT-5 mini and GPT 4.5, 1 is 0. What's that meaning? This is the cost of these models, how much it consumes from your limits. So if you have 2000 request limits and if you use GPT 4.1 in the public repository, it will not cost anything. It will be free. It should be, but I'm not sure with the free accounts. I never tried. But in the enterprise account, it's free for me. So it means that in the enterprise, I can use GPT 4.1 unlimited times. But if I go for the 5.1 Codex Mini, it costs 0.32 request per question. Yani think about it like a token, the cost of the token. Okay. If I go for the Cloud Sonnet 4, it's going to be 1 token per question. If I go for the Opus, it's 30 token. It's very expensive.
X means request.
No, X means times 30 tokens. Okay. It's like a money, right? So it will cost $30, for example. Think about this. So if you have 2,000 requests,
Not by session, right?
it's by questions. So it depends. So some of the sessions, some of the questions cost, they make it like a premium request in session. If it is very complex question, it will tell you that you consumed one token. Let's say not token, but it has different premium request. Sorry, it says that you consumed one premium request in that session. Okay. Sometimes a session can consume one premium token. It depends the type of the question that you are asking. Okay. And there's also another option. By the way, you can see the same this costs in the VS Code also, if I'm not wrong. Yes, you see here. You can see 1x, 1x. There are some internal only ones, 30x. And there's also option called auto. If you choose it auto, you will get 10% discount. What's that meaning? It means that if it is 3x, and if you choose 10%, if you choose auto, and this auto use this one, it will not cost 3x, it will cost 2.7 for you, because it's going to be 10% discount, right? The 10% will make 0.3, 3 minus 0.3, it will be 2.7. Simple math, right? Same for the 1x ones, it will be 0.9 for you. But when you choose the auto, or when you choose the specific model, if you know what you are doing, if you're going to ask a specific question, which is a complex questions, don't go for the auto, because auto will try to try with the cheapest ones first. And if it couldn't make it properly, then it will try the expensive ones. It will waste your time. Okay, or the output will be will not be high quality, low quality, right? That's why if you know that it's a complex question, and if you know that from your experience, these questions need some expertise, go for example, Claude Sonnets or Claude Opus. These ones are good. But GPT, for example, GPT-5 is good for the planning, for example. So if it's the planning task, you can go for the GPT-5. If it is a coding task, you can go for the Claude Opus one, Claude Sonnet one, or Codex ones. GPT 5.1 Codex, so on and so forth. Because Codex ones are specialized for the coding. Okay. Any question? Yeah, go ahead.
Does Copilot have education service, like, for example, Google Gemini, they have this education service where you code and there is a 5-hour refresh time. Like you can code on
You mean students kind of thing? I don't know.
The GitHub student package.
So it gives you room for 1 month. I had that.
No, I don't know. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is the Copilot CLI, as I told you. The default one, because I'm using the class one at 4.5 also here, you see. It's also the active one in my VS Code. Also the active one in my CLI. They are using the same one, okay? So then escape to cancel. Let's say I want to create a new folder here. At the end of the session, you see how many requests, premium requests that I consume, how many time spent, total session time, total count change. It will give us some data, some diagnostic data or statistic data. Okay, anyway, so let's say make other AQC Azure Qatar community demo. And let's go inside this one, AQC demo. Then I will go for the Copilot banner. Then let's say I want to ask some question, this Copilot. Can you help me to initialize a Git repo in this folder? So it will do a git init for me. So it's asking initialize. Do you want to run this command? Yes, yes, and don't ask again for git init in this directory. So on, so yeah, just choose yes. So it will initialize the git init for you. So it will automatically, so it generates a GitHub repo for me, a local repo. Now I wanted to go to GitHub, my GitHub account, and create a public repository for me, and then create a remote repository settings here so that I can do a check-in, check-out, and push my changes to my GitHub account on the GitHub website. How am I going to do that? So this large language models, it's a snapshot of the data at the end, right? It doesn't have any feature to communicate with the external world by itself. It's a static data by itself. So how we can get the help of this large language model to understand me and take some actions on external words. So the helper for this one is model context protocol, which help us to communicate with the external world. So what is this model context protocol? It is a standard introduced by Anthropic, and now it's used by all of the model generators, all of these AI tool generators, so on and so forth. So let me show you what this MCP looks like. This is what MCP protocol is. So I have a host. Okay, this is my IDE. It can be Cloud IDE, it can be Visual Studio Code, it can be whatever you are using, it can be Visual Studio or any other tools. Okay, and this is the host with the MCP client. In my case, my Visual Studio Code is my MCP client. It will use this MCP protocol to communicate with the external world, okay? And we have a MCP servers here, right? This MCP server is a proxy between your client and with the real data source at the background. This data source can be a database. This data source can be an API. This data source can be a CRM application, ERP application, whatever you name it. Okay. And there are different ways to host this MCP server. You can host an MCP server in your local computer. You can host an MCP server internet, and you can connect to this MCP server from your local PC. So your client tool can connect to local MCP servers, which connect to a local data source. Your client can connect to local MCP server, which connect to external database, or your MCP's client will connect to external MCP server, which connect to a remote server, remote database. They are all acceptable. Is that clear? Okay. And how this MCP is working at the background, how it's working in the VS Code, for example. This is how it's working. So I have a user, okay? User will give a prompt to my Copilot editor, right? Chat window or CLI. I gave a command to it. Go to the GitHub and create a repository. So the Copilot will take some context from my machine. It can be operating system context, which folder I am working, which files do I have in that folder. So this is part of the context. Maybe there are some markdown files. No, rec is different. This is MCP. Machine is the machine, operating system, my machine. Okay, in my machine, this is Windows operating system. My Copilot is working in the D source repos AQC-demo. What kind of files do I have in that folder? Maybe some instructions, maybe some markdown files, or maybe my C# project or TypeScript project, whatever. This is the context. This context is coming from the machine itself, folder inside the folder, okay? What else? I have also workspace. Workspace also includes my folder, okay? And workspace, there's a concept that workspace in the VS Code itself. It's like a logical container. But in this case, the machine context and workspace might be same because this is an empty folder, okay? But this workspace has some tools, right? Read file, edit file, run internal, whatever. And then my Copilot will go and do some tool calls to read what's inside this workspace. Okay. And it will take all of this prompt, context, tool, description, and go to the LLM. LLM, in that case, it's Claude Sonnet 4.5. It will take all context with my prompt, give it to the LLM. LLM will understand what's going on, try to understand my request, check the tools, what kind of tools do I have, which tools are they? These are the MCP tools, which I installed on my PC. So in my case, I installed GitHub MCP, which will communicate to GitHub. You might install Azure DevOps MCP, which will communicate to your Azure DevOps. You might install a CRM MCP, which will communicate to your CRM application. So anyway, LLM will go and check which tools available for me and then give a decision. It will go and run those tools to take actions on GitHub on behalf of me. That's how MCP protocol is working. There's a latest a new update on the MCP. As of now, until now, MCP is working only the text-based protocol. Okay. Now they are working MCP UI. So it will start delivering also UI. So what's that meaning? As an MCP provider, so you have a proxy, right? MCP server, and there's an API backend, right? So your MCP server will go to your API or your CRM application or ERP application, fetch the data, not only returning this data, but it will also start returning UI with the data. So your client doesn't need to generate anything. It will generate also UI. So your application doesn't need to have a UI. So you can have a tool which will connect to different MCPs, which can give you different UIs. So your application will be only a dummy MCP client, which will get different UIs from the different MCP servers. That's another feature update.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, how is MCP differ from your typical custom-made API servers?
So API is using an HTTP protocol, but MCP is used by the LLMs. It's a standard.
Right.
Okay. Is that clear for you?
Yeah.
What's not clear? Tell me.
Oh, you set up the MCP the same way you set up an API.
This is a different protocol. The standard is different. MCP is using a different protocol. API is using a different protocol. Okay. The definition of the protocol is different. So for example, if we are gonna also, if they will start delivering UI, API cannot do it. API is returning you as JSON data.
Yes.
But MCP is a different protocol returning different data. And it's used by with your MCP clients, LLMs. Okay. Tool description, each MCP server announce outside what kind of capability does it has. For example, GitHub MCP announced that it can read the repository, it can create the repository, it can go and create an issue, so on and so forth. It has more than 40 tools inside it. It's a capability. So for example, you write an MCP client, MCP server for SQL Server, a database. Okay. So let's say you have a backend database, it's a SQL server, and you have a MCP server in front of it. Instead of writing SQL statements, you can ask MCP, give me the records in the customer database, which let's say which did the transaction last 10 days. So it will take this human language, transfer it to the SQL statements, move it to the database, run the query, take the output, return back to me human readable output. So this SQL Server MCP server has some capabilities. Those tools is the capabilities. I will show them. Okay, is that clear for everyone? So let me show you another thing. Since we are talking about MCP. So as I told you, this MCP is a standard. So where is the first place that you need to check is, yes, this one. You need to go to the github.com/model context protocol. This is the web page that you need to check what this model context protocol is. So this is the full documentation. What this standard is about, you know, what are the details of this standard, so on and so forth. So there are the different SDKs. So what's that meaning? Let's say you want to develop a server in front of your custom-made ERP application. So, and you are a Java developer, you can come here, you can download this software development kit, Java software development kit, and you can build your own Java-based MCP server in front of your Java ERP application, let's say. And what is also new, I don't know if you know about, you heard about our API management. In Azure, we have a tool called API management. In the API management, we have a new section called MCP servers. So let's say you have an existing API already registered in your API management. So you can take these existing APIs and open them to outside with this MCP protocol, which means that your existing APIs can be consumed by your MCP clients. Okay. Again, let's say you have a lot of APIs in your organization. Those APIs are for your ERP application, your HR application, your human resources team has an application internal, okay? And then these APIs is used by other tools inside your organization, right? Has an API to query the remaining vacation per employee. You will give the employee ID and it will give you the remaining vacation days, right? Another API endpoint, which will, I don't know, ask for the vacation request, right? Another API is for the, give me the salary, what's my salary, blah, blah, whatever. But you need to explain it to the LLM. Otherwise, he cannot understand it. If the documentation is not enough, right? It cannot understand it. So you need to explain it also.
The authentication and authorization, correct?
I
The,
couldn't hear you.
for the API, how the authentication and authorization and security wise gonna work?
It's a completely different discussion. Let's not get into that discussion. It will need another session. But normally, briefly, API needs authentication. API management handle it for you. If you are not using API management, you need to handle it. But normally it uses these headers with the bearer tokens, so on and so forth. You need to handle this in API management. Also, the same, that's a good question. You need to handle it in the MCP protocol also. But MCP protocol also standard to do this authentication also. Yeah, but it's a big subject. Let's keep it another question. Okay, cool. So again, this is the first place that you need to go ahead and check what this MCP protocol is. Okay, if you want to develop your MCP application server, you need to go to the SDKs, software development kit, download them and start using it. On top of it, let's say you see there's a model context protocol. There are servers. If you click the servers, you will see the size of the scroll bar here. The page is here, huge. If you scroll down, you will see lots of servers here, third-party servers, tons of it. You see Alibaba Cloud, Alpaca, I don't know, Apache, you name it. You will find anything you are looking for, but be careful. Don't forget, these MCP servers is developed by someone else. The security is your responsibility. Make sure that they are secure. If you don't trust them, don't use it. Don't install it, because these MCP servers will access to your backend systems. Okay, use them, install them within your own risk. Okay, that's important. Okay, return back. Another thing here is that inspector. What this inspector is, it's a tool to help you to inspect the MCP protocol between client and server. If you click that one, it will show you how to use it. I believe it's like a web user interface running in the Chrome. That's what I remember. It's a Node.js Docker container. So it explains how to install it, blah, blah. And then, so it's a web user interface. So you will add this MCP server to this web interface, and you will do some requests. And it will show you how this request is going, how it is coming. So you can also debug it, so on and so forth. This is a helper tool to debug your MCP servers. Okay. All of them. It's like in the APIs, when you publish an API, it also generates a documentation for you, right? What's the user interface that we use for the APIs? What was the name of it? The API user interface. So when you publish the API, it generates a user interface for you also when you make it docs, right? So which you can test it. I forget its name. Nuran, what was the name of this API user interfaces? To test it, APIs? Swagger. Yes, I forgot, Swagger. So it's kind of Swagger, which you can test your MCP protocol. Okay. On top of it, let's say, in your organization, you have lots of MCP servers, right? One for HR, one for CRM, one for ERP, one for your databases, so on and so forth. It will be another management cost for you. How are you going to manage it? There is a marketplace extension for this MCP, which is MCP registry. MCP registry is like a marketplace which you can build your own registry and you can publish your MCP servers in that registry. So this registry is your organizational registry running in your organization. Okay. And your developers can go to this registry and see all of the available MCP servers in your organization, and they can consume it. Clear? So how this MCP registry looks like? It looks like this. Not the MCP server. It's like should be it's much. GitHub.com, yes, this one. This is the registry. You see? And this is official GitHub registry. But when you install this MCP registry, you will have the same user interface. Of course, you can go ahead and customize it according to your organizational design templates. So it's the source code is open source. So you can go ahead and change it. Okay. But you can search it. For example, if you are searching GitHub, it will give you all the GitHub related registry, or let's say search for context. It will give you the context. You see, it's all context related search results. Clear? So you will click this one. You can install it in VS Code Insider, and you can see this all the documentation. And you can, your developers go ahead and install it to their own AI tool. Tamam? Now, let's return. Okay, so I was here, right? I generate my repository, but this is a local repository. Now I will ask the GitHub CLI to go ahead, use the GitHub MCP to go my repository, to go my GitHub account and create a public repository. How it's going to do it? It's going to do it with my GitHub MCP tool. And GitHub MCP is out of box in GitHub CLI. You don't need to install it. Okay, but if you want to install custom tools, another MCP, what you need to do is, don't forget /MCP, and it will give you all the options. MCP show, MCP add, blah, blah. Let's say if you want to add something, MCP add, it will give you this interactive window for you. Let's say context 7, okay, tab. What's the command? Let's go to context 7 documentation. Open this one. And here it will show you how to install it. Okay. Let's say how it is. Sorry. More MCP clients, more documentation. So go ahead and find maybe VS Code. Do we have a CLI here? Let's search CLI. Not CLU. Say GitHub. Copilot CLI. I saw it. Copilot. Yes. Copilot CLI. Yeah, here is it. Okay. So, okay, this is, okay, how, yeah, local server. You see command is npx. Copy this one. Come back here. Command is npx. What is npx? Node.js runtime running inside your machine. Okay. Environment variable. Do I have any environment variable here? No. And skip all tools. I'm not sure if it's going to run, but how it's going to take the, no, it shoots something else. Okay, let's go to the HTTP version. I didn't try this one. Let me go this one. Context 7, keep it context 7. And here, no, okay, context server type, make it 3. Okay, now it's asking HTTP URL. I'm gonna use this one. Okay, header, do I need a header? Okay, it needs this one, API key. Okay, and I need to go to the context 7, create an API key, and paste it here. And then tools, all tools. So this is how you register it. But I'm not going to waste the time. I'm going to skip this one. Okay, but you got the idea. So what it will do, it will go to your folder, C, users, Fatih, and it will go to this Copilot. It will generate a mcp-config.json file here, and you can go ahead and change this JSON file according to your settings. Okay, but this is the location where this configuration is happening. Now, let's go ahead and ask, yes, go ahead and create a public repo on my GitHub account for this local repository. So it will go ahead and create a repository for me. So it's thinking about this one. It finds some of the tools, GitHub tools. You see, it's saying that I found some GitHub tools. But the user want me to create public GitHub repository. I need to first blah, blah, MCP server tools, add the remote origin, potentially do an initial commit and push. However, I don't have tools to create GitHub repository directly because in the GitHub CLI, deletion and creation is not allowed for the security purposes. It can only read my GitHub repositories. Instead, what it's going to do, it's going to use my GitHub command line tool. I already have installed the GitHub command line. It's not Copilot CLI, it's a GitHub command line. Okay, so it will use this command line tool to create a repository called AQC demo here. You see, it will run this command for me. Instead of using GitHub MCP, it's using a local tool for me. But it's asking permission. If I say yes, it will go ahead and create a repository in the GitHub for me. Is that clear? Perfect. Yes, it's created for this and also add as a remote origin. So if I go to my GitHub repository, it should be GitHub slash Fatih Durgut slash. Yeah. No. Demo. GitHub command line is another command line tool from GitHub itself. The GitHub MCP tool does not have a permission to do change in the GitHub repository. It's not allowed. That's why LLM checked the tool set. It found GitHub MCP, but it also see that it's not allowed to do some creation or deletion in the GitHub repository. That's why it switched back to the GitHub command line tool automatically. Tamam? So you see it create this AQC demo for me. So you can go ahead and ask, okay, cool. Can you create my first issue for testing if everything is okay? Again, it will not use the MCP tool. Again, it will use the GitHub command line because as I told you, it cannot create with the MCP, but it can read it. So after it creates, come here, go to issues, test issue. Now, if I go, can you give me the list of the issues in my repo? Now, cross the fingers, I can use the GitHub MCP server. You see, now it's using the GitHub MCP server to read the issue. And here's the issue one. Okay, this is the issue one. Clear? Cool. If you, okay, there's another mode here. You see, this is experimental.
This my
Which, this one? It's from the, here. From,
yeah, who gave it?
I gave it. No, Copilot gave it. I asked him to test it. So the Copilot, when it creates this issue, it took my input prompt and generate this description. So now I was going to explain what. Yes. Switching. This is experimental. Okay, to switch the mode. So if you do a shift tab, it will go to the planning mode. So planning mode is another mode than the agent mode. Instead of taking actions, it will first plan. So let's say you will ask to do something, but first I wanted to create a plan for me properly, then take the action step by step. They called it prompt-driven development. Okay. So if I go back to my folder, there is when you use the Copilot, you shouldn't go ahead and ask it to develop your project in one shot. You should act more structural way. Okay, so that's why we have a concept called prompt-driven development or context engineering workflow. They have a different namings. So, but what you need to do is, this is the active context, right? Project description, architecture, and other things inside the active workflow, active workspace. Okay, this is the project context. On top of it, you have a task context, which generate a plan for you. When it generates a plan, you can use a plan template to have a structural plan for you. Okay, and then it will generate a markdown file for you, so you can do it. A markdown file for your plan. Then you can ask the Copilot to use this plan to generate your code. But I will do more, I will explain more details. We have one more left, so let me go ahead and move a little bit faster. Planning is this. If I go back to Shift Tab, Copilot, yes, enable all permission. It's autopilot. So autopilot will do this, will do all the iteration for you. You give it task, it will do a one iteration, then it will check if it is okay. No, continue, continue, continue. Do multiple iteration. It's autopilot. It will try to complete the task by itself. Okay, so this is the different modes in the GitHub Copilot CLI. And if you do Control-C, it will take it. As you can see, we used 4 premium requests in my session. Okay. Cool. Now, come back to VS Code. Let me go ahead and open my folder. I will go to AQC demo, select folder. So it will open my AQC demo. Now, the same thing, the similar thing is also doable here. When I click this one, you can see the agent ask, and you will see also planning here. It will come. You will also see the plan mode here. Come on. It will come. Okay. The same thing will come here. Also, not now. Also, you can see all the models here. right? On top of it, if you click this manage models, you will see all the available models, part of the Copilot and part of my enterprise. Okay, in my enterprise account, these are the models which is available for me to use. And you can see the capabilities here. So for example, this Claude Hauki is a tools, can use the tools. It can also understand the images. It can look at the image, screenshot, and take action accordingly. Okay. And also, let's say you have a Foundry local. This Foundry local is something that you can install it with the AI toolkit in the extensions. You will go to this extension window here, search for the Foundry, install it. And then when you install it, then you will see this local models here, which means that, let's say you have a disconnected environment and you have a very strong machine, which has some GPU on it. So you can download these DeepSeek models or these Mistral, Phi, blah, 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 whatever. You can ask questions to these local models. So it will be free. You will only pay electricity because your laptop will consume electricity, right? But it will be very slow according to your GPU, of course, your card, okay? So, but this is the scenario. Some of our customers, they are working disconnectedly. So they are looking for this one, like defense companies, Ministry of Interiors, some of the ministries, they are working locally. GitHub models via AI toolkit, Microsoft Foundry via AI toolkit. So these are the remote repositories. Or you can also go and you can, for example, bring your own Anthropic models. Let's say you have an Anthropic account, you have an Anthropic key. Choose Anthropic, it will ask API key to authenticate you to your Anthropic account. And you can use your Anthropic models if you have an account. So with that, we are trying to do VS Code as a, we say, and we disconnect the VS Code from specific model providers, model agnostics or model provider agnostic. So you can use Google models, you can use XAI, Olalama. Let's say you have Olalama installed on your PC, you can use that one also. But since we have a Foundry local, you don't need this Olalama anymore. Okay, so you can use different models from different, or let's say you have an Azure. In the Azure, you deploy your own model. Maybe it's trained for your own source code. You can use that one also. Okay. Cool. On top of it, yes, planning is here. Now, planning is the planning, ask an agent. Before we had also edit mode, but last month, not last month, I believe last week they removed this edit mode. I was waiting this one because it was useless, because plan is for planning. Ask is just for asking purposes. It will not take any action for you. Edit was for editing the files. Agent do the same thing. On top of it, it can use the tools. Okay, so if you go to the agent mode, please, as of now, discard this part. Don't see this part. If you go to the agent, you see there's a configure tools section here. If you click that one, there are some built-in tools coming from the VS Code itself, which it can do some, take and execute a command in your PC, so on and so forth. There are some tools, MCP tools, GitHub tools. There are some tools coming from my extensions. You see this icon means that it comes from extension. When you install an extension, some of these extensions also support this MCP server internally. That's why it comes here. Some of them are coming from MCP protocol, which I installed this Azure by myself. And some of them, this one is from GitHub. GitHub make a different logo for itself, okay? Since it's its own tool, okay? So if you open, you had a question about this, what are those tool definition? If you open this GitHub, You see, these are the capabilities of this GitHub MCP server. So each capability have a description, and this description is used by my model. Okay, if I go to Azure, you see tons of things in the Azure. So what I can do with the Azure, I can ask the Copilot to go to Azure and deploy my web application on behalf of me. Or I can go to Azure, Copilot, and ask the Azure to bring the existing deployment and convert it to a Terraform script, infrastructure as a code script. It can do it.
Does it also create Azure resources as well?
Yes, it can.
Web service, containerized,
Everything.
or normal, yes.
Everything. So in one scenario, you can do this. This is my application. According to this application, what is the best deployment or what's the best environment on the Azure that I can deploy it? So here in the extension, there's an MCP service here installed, okay? You can go to MCP here. Where is it? Here. So for example, this, let's switch to Azure MCP, Microsoft Learn. So if you click Samir, Microsoft Learn, okay? This one goes to the Microsoft Learn, fetch the latest documentation from the Microsoft Learn, and give answer from there. So if you click install VS Code, open, install, you can either install it globally. When you install it, it will go to user.vs code, blah, 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 blah. Okay, if you install the workspace, it will create a .vs code folder inside your folder, create an mcp.json file. So Microsoft Learn should be a global. Install it, you see it will be here, Microsoft Learn. Where is the location? If you click this one, show configuration JSON, it will take you to the configuration, okay? So here you can see the configuration. So with this tool, it's not running right now. You see it says start is active and it has 3 tools inside it. It's not active. You can start it. So it will go to the learn.microsoft.com. So you can ask this question. What's the best target environment on the Azure that I can deploy this application? It will go to the learn.microsoft.com, look for the context. Let's say it's you have some Docker definitions in your application code. It will take the learn.microsoft.com, do research, do blah, 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 and it will give you container app is the right approach to deploy it. Then you can tell it, okay, go ahead and deploy it as a container app. Then it will go to the Azure MCP, package it, and then deploy it. For packaging, it will use the built-in tools. For deployment, it will use the Azure tools. Okay. And let's say they are running locally. For example, this one is running locally. You see, it's a SDIO. It's a standard IO operation. Well, it's not running right now. So if you want to see how it's running, go to Process Explorer. Okay, find the code here. This is the details. This is the process is running in my application. We need to find the Visual Studio Code here. Yeah, here is the code. Okay, these are the sub processes in the code. So if I come back to Visual Studio Code, if I start this one and come back here, you see it started Azure MCP here. And here, you see Azure MCP running behind my VS Code thread. It's a process in my VS Code thread. Okay. But if you use the remote one, this one is remote GitHub, right? It's using a remote one. If I run this one, it will not do anything because it's connecting to the remote server. Clear? Close this one. So you can start it. Actually, you don't need to start it. When you ask something to Copilot, it will automatically go and start it for you. I just started to demonstrate it to you. Or let's say you have a multiple editors in your PC. You are using VS Code, you are using Visual Studio, you are using Java editors, whatever, right? And you want to keep all of those MCP servers in a centralized location, right? What you can do is you can go to the Docker desktop. There is a MCP toolkit beta here. They have their own catalog here. Okay, you see they have their own catalog. So let's say search for GitHub. You see GitHub official. Click here. I already installed this one. You will see install here. When you install it, it will come my servers. You see GitHub official here. And then click this one. You can also see how you're gonna run this one. Take this, click that one. It will take you the installation steps. You will see the installation steps here in local GitHub server, Docker. This is the installation, Docker installation. Okay, take this one, come to IDE, and paste it here. So when you run it, it will go to Docker desktop, and you will see a running container here. It will automatically run this container for you. And this container is a GitHub server, will connect to GitHub MCP background. So it's like a proxy. So you can use the this Docker desktop in your PC, and you can connect it from multiple editors if you want. It's up to you. Okay. That's another option that you can use. So if you want to try, for example, desktop commander, go to desktop commander. It will take action on the desktop itself. It will create a folder, delete a folder, read a file, zip a file, blah, blah, doing lots of things. So you can add this one. Again, go to the configuration, which folder you are giving permission, and then go to overview and tools. It explains all the tools. Go to overview, read the documentation in the repository, and go ahead at your VS Code and use this desktop commander in wherever you want. Come on. Good. That's okay. Now, let's come back to VS Code. Come back to my one unread session. This is the first time I see, by the way. Okay, let's move. You see, this is initialize Git repository. This happened in where? If I click this one, corrupted. Okay. So it's happened on the background in the CLI. That's why it's showing that one. But it's corrupted. Anyway, let's open a new session. I cannot open it. Okay. New chat editor. This one run at the background. Okay, there's another button here. You can choose where this session will run. Local means that on local PC. Background means that Copilot CLI. Cloud means that it will go to GitHub, create an agent session in the GitHub, and it will run there. If you go choose the cloud, it will go to the cloud, and it will start an agent session over there. If you want more, you can go to agent types and you can do it. So if I click, for example, background, and if you ask something, let's say, can you give me the list of the issues in my GitHub repo? You see, it's a background agent. failed to create work tree, proceeding with work without isolation, whatever. But it will run in the background. While this one is running, you can go ahead, create a new chat. So the old chat will be here. It's running at the background, and you have a new chat here, which you can run it local. So at the same time, you can have multiple chat sessions. Of course, each of them will consume from your premium request. Nothing is free. Okay. Yeah, premium or whatever. Yeah, it depends on the questions that you are asking. Okay, but it's not free. Okay, unless you are using local model. Okay.
Is there any restriction for having more than one model at a time for local?
Yeah, you can choose a different model for each local station. You can do it. There is no restriction. Yani for
the models.
yes, for each station to station.
And the time.
But the restriction is the models that you can download is limited. It's not a GPT-4.5 because the model is huge. You cannot download it or you cannot run this model in your local GPU. If you ask a question, it will take 1 month to answer to you. Unless you have the latest version of this NVIDIA GPU desktops, you know. PCs. Anyway.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome. So you can switch the different sessions. Allow. It will use this GitHub again, the command line, it will give it to me. Okay. Come back. And this is the, again, cloud. If you choose the cloud, it will go to your cloud. Let's ask the same question. Give me the list of the issues on my repository. And it's clever enough to understand my English, luckily. So now it will go to Cloud Agent. But in the Cloud Agent, what it will do is, instead of messing up my local branch, because I'm currently in the main branch, what it will do is Cloud Agent work asynchronously to create a pull request, your requested changes. And don't think about this. My request is very simple. It will not do anything. It will go ahead and just fetch the list of the GitHub issues. But normally you will ask something else, right? You will ask to go and develop something. So it might be a destructive command. So that's why it will go ahead and create a branch just for this request on the cloud. It will make the changes on that branch. Then it will create a pull request and ask me to review it. If I like it, I will merge it. If I don't like it, I will revert it back. But let's do it for, let's cancel it. We will do it for another demo because we don't need to create a branch for just fetching the list of the issues. Exactly. So now let's go back to local. What I want is, let me show you another magic. This is my SQL Server connection. Okay, it will connect to my SQL Express. And this is my local databases. You can do the same thing for the Oracle also. Okay, so you can right-click your database and open in Copilot Ask mode, open in Copilot Agent mode. What's happening is that this is also using SQL Server MCP. So it will go and connect to my SQL Express, server name SQL Express, database PubS. Okay, now since it's using my database, I can ask the question about this one. It's still running, but it's connecting. It's reading all my database, understand what this database is about, reading all the structure, table definitions, blah, blah, blah. And then, yes, let's do allow. You see, it's use a connect to SQL Server MCP tool right now. Yeah. And if you want to debug this one, allow, okay, you see it's going to run the command. This command is from MCP. You can allow it. You can allow in this session, allow in this one, always allow. Let's say allow. analyzing my database. While this one is analyzing, if you go to chat debug, there's a chat debug here. How do you activate it? Go to settings, diagnostics, or chat settings. If you go to the chat settings, you can activate this chat debug. Okay, if you activate this chat debug, you can see all the chat debug sessions here. For example, let's say background agent, connect, background agent. Since it's still, one of them is a system user completion token. You can see how many tokens you consumed here. You see all the MCP tools. Scroll down. What is it? This one. Ask the user question, clarify intent. This is the all the tools that you use. Tons of things. Go down. But anyway, you can do lots of. You can see the details. Okay. Assistant. The user wants to connect SQL Server database connection. Pub SQL Express. This looks like request connect to SQL Server. It shows you how to decide which tool it's going to use. Reasoning, tons of things. Response, you see it decided to MS SQL add connection, so on and so forth. So you can see the debug and how it works here. So yes, it's connected. Now you can tell him, give me the lists of the tables in the database. Now it will go to my SQL Server. You see it automatically convert my human language into a SQL statement. And it will go ahead and return the list of the tables. These are the tables. And you can ask to give me the most active customer who made an transaction last 3 months, so on, so forth, whatever. So you can ask anything about this database. It's like a query tool for you. It's also a reporting tool. And think about this one. If they also activate Git MCP UI on top of it, this MCP will be a reporting tool for you, right? It will go ahead, fetch the data for you. It will generate a chart for you and transfer this chart for you. So you don't need a Power BI because MCP will give it to me, right? That's how it works. Anyway, so let's do this one. Let's be a more serious. Go to planning mode. And I want to ask, okay, let's use the microphone. Now, I want you to go ahead and check my PubS database. And I want to create a modern user interface for my PubS database. In this modern user interface, it needs to be cloud native. Are you listening to me, by the way? No, he's not listening. Let's try one more time. Are you listening to me? Cool. That's nice. That's nice. Yeah. Let's try one more time. Huh?
That was not the model extension.
Yeah, I consumed one, but yeah, premium user. Anyway, okay. I want you to go ahead to connect to my PubS database, generate a modern user interface. And this application will be a cloud native application which supports Azure. Also, I want to run it locally, so it might be good if it supports Docker, if it supports Docker desktop. And don't forget to implement best practices about the microservice architecture, but don't make it too complicated, okay? I don't want deep hierarchy in my application. Make it clear, easy to understand. Help me to plan it, please.
Laptop mic is here.
It's not working. But how it understand that I'm listening? Let's try one more time. Maybe. Okay. So I got it. My microphone is used by Teams. That's why it cannot listen. Yeah, that's the problem. If I do some, okay, let's do it. Let's try this. I don't want to write. Okay. I want you to build a UI, a modern UI for my POPs database, and it needs to be cloud native and implement micro service architecture. What else? Will that be enough? Okay, go ahead and use C# for backend services. And don't forget Docker or APIs, etc. So now what it's going to happen, it will go ahead and plan this, take my request and generate a plan for me. And how it's doing that, why I start. So yeah, it will go ahead and create a modern. So there's something new here that it start using the sub agents. So when I ask the plan, it will split this task to the sub agents. Each sub agent is running parallelly and will do different tasks at the same time to complete the task for me. So now one of these sub agents will do some research about the microservice architecture. Another sub agent probably will go and do a research about the Docker APIs. Another one will do another blah, blah, blah. You got the idea. So this is the planning mode. While this one is doing a planning, I want to talk about the other agent modes for you. So if you click this configure custom agent, and if you discard those agent modes as of now, if you click the plan, you can see what this planning agent mode, the planning mode is doing at the background. You see the planning mode do a research and outlines multi-step. It can use these tools. If you want to configure these tools, you can click this configure and you can add or remove some of those tools. If you think that Microsoft Learn will be beneficial for the planning mode, you can click this one and then you can go ahead and you can say that go ahead and use the Microsoft Docs also. Okay, and then click OK. You see the planning mode changed right now. It start using Microsoft Learn also. Clear? And then this is the description of the planning mode, but I'm not going to touch it as of now. So you see,
Let's suppose if we have telecom government access campaign.
It should be part of your context. I'm going to show it to you. Okay, now, as of now, my folder is empty. That my context is nothing. That's why I ask him to do a planning. So now it's asking me some questions. Which front-end framework would you prefer to modern UI? Which one do you suggest? React, Blazor, Angular, Vue? Which one do you suggest? Any React? You want React? Okay, let's go for the React. Okay, let's choose. What's your target deployment environment? Let's say Azure. Shared database. Database pays per service. Now I'm going to go for the shared database. Authentication approach, Azure AD. Now it collects some of those information. Now it's going to help me to do the planning part. Now, while this is planning, let me switch back to the another important tool that you should use in your projects. If you come to the GitHub.com/ I cannot pronounce this. Awesome Copilot. Okay, my daughter's always having fun with my English. Awesome Copilot. Okay, this is your repository that you need to go. If you go there, you will see different links. Awesome agents, prompts, instructions, blah, blah. So anyway, if you go to the agents, I'm not going to say the first part. If you go to the agents, you will see the custom agents that you can use in your copilots. So for example, you want your agent to work as an API architect. You want your agent to work as a enterprise principal Azure architect or .NET architect or bicep specialist or C# expert. So you gave a role to your agents. So, and if you go inside the details, so if I go, for example, enterprise, I like one of them, enterprise. You see tons of enterprise. What was it? Let's search architect. Context, no, declarative. High level, big picture, modernization architect, plan mode, strategic planning. Repo, no. Senior cloud architect. There is a .NET expert here. Technical context, in beast mode. Okay, let's go for this one. Azure Principal Architect. Install. Okay, before installing, let me show what it is. Let me go inside this one. It's a markdown file. If I go to the raw version, you can see this markdown file, description, Azure Principal Architect. And these are the tools it's using. And this is the roles, responsibilities. Always use Microsoft documentation tools, WAF pillars, security, well-architected framework pillars, right? Architectural approach, response structure, blah, 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 blah. So there's a shortcut here. If I go back, what was it? Principle, right? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Open. It will go to my VS Code. Yes. It will create a folder called .github/agents. Yes. Azure Principal Architect. Now, this is my architect mode. And these are the tools. If I click this one, I will also choose Microsoft MCP. Okay. And then GitHub, Azure, SQL Server, okay, container tools, click OK, and save it, and close it. Now, if I open this one, I can see my Azure Principal Architect here. Okay, configure this one. I'm gonna close these two because they are coming from a tool. I don't want it. Now, I will choose Azure Principal Architect mode, and I can ask this architect mode to go ahead and implement this plan. Okay, and or this is one thing. So another thing, come back. This is the No, it's using the agent at the background. But this is giving a different role to your agent with the prompts. It's changing the system prompts. It's changing the user prompts for you. Okay.
So it will be a predefined context, like it will behave like an architect.
One more time. Yeah, it will behave like an architect.
Context will be always there whenever I will ask anything here.
Yes.
Uh,
On top of this existing context, it will use this context also. It's architect mode context.
All those that is defined on the documentation.
Yes.
What will the architecture?
Yes, and you can change it if you want. If you click this one, configure, and if you go to this Azure Principal Architect, you can go ahead and change these whatever you want. So you can build your own architect for your organization. Uridu architect, Qatargas architect, Vodafone architect, whatever company that you are using.
So initial guideline we can provide here.
Yes,
And
and you
based on
can
it-
customize it.
Okay.
According to your best practices, organizational best practices. You can ask this mode to use your MCP, local MCPs inside your organization.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing, now if you open my, yeah, you see GitHub agents, it's a folder. What else? If I go to blah, 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 Copilot, if I scroll down, you can also see the prompts. Prompts are focused, task-specific prompts. It's like a prescription. Okay. For example, I want to use these prompts to upgrade my .NET project from an old framework to a new one. Specific task. For example, I want to check my .NET application, review if my .NET application is applying some of the best practices. I don't know, add additional educational comments. Okay, there are tons of prescriptions, prompts here. For example, if I go down, I can go and let's say C# async best programming, right? Or if I go, let's say, search Azure resource, no, create GitHub issue from implementation plan. Install, open. Yes. GitHub/prompts. It's a long one, but yes. Now, this is my prompt. In my prompt, there is something different. In the prompt window, you see there's a play button here. So you can run this prompt from here, or you can come here and you can, I believe, say either / or sharp. You see, create GitHub issues feature from blah, 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 blah. With the sharp, you can call this prompt from here. Okay, so it's up to you. So now I have the plan, right? And this one is using the agent mode. This is the description. Again, it's using some tools. Search code base, GitHub issues, configure tools. Let me choose GitHub is here. Azure also built in. Okay, save this one. So I have the plan. I will run this one. So now it will use this prompt to read my plan, and it will go to my GitHub repository, and it will generate issues from my plan. Cross the fingers, inshallah. Say Bismillah.
Bismillah.
No, because it will not always work like this, because it's a Copilot. Okay, what it's asking something? No, it's still the pet. Okay, it's asking something, right? I don't see any implement. Okay, okay. So good one. So let's do this one. Let's go to, in that case, let's go to agents. Search for plan. I said planning, context, DevOps expert. No, implementation plan generation mode. Install this one. Open. Yes. 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 Now. Ooh. This is a new agent. So I will go ahead and choose this agent. Implementation plan generation. Come back to where is my plan? Here. Yeah. And I'm going to choose this one. It generates the plan from my plan. Now, this mode hopefully will take my plan and create a plan document for me. As you can see, I'm hoping, yes. Yes, now it creates a plan for me. Now it generates a markdown file and create a plan markdown file for me. So I can take this plan with my prompt and generate issues on my GitHub repository. After I have the issues, I can go to the GitHub Copilot Cloud agent to go ahead on this plan and build my application without touching it. Nice. I think so. And we have 15 minutes. Go ahead.
So, for example, for the prompts, they use some of the MCP tools, right?
Yes.
So if you don't have the MCP tool installed, does it ask you to install it, or does it just?
No, it will not ask. It will not ask. But that's a good suggestion. It would be nice if it can ask it, right? Maybe you can write an MCP server to help the Copilot to ask
Missing tools.
missing tools. That's a good, that will be very nice. Good one. I like it. Yeah. So while this one is running, let's switch back to awesome Copilot repository and let's check the other things. We have also GitHub instructions. What are those instructions? Instructions will run at the background automatic. It's not running actually. It's part of the context. And with that one, it will take this context according to the extension of the file. Let's say this one, .NET Framework Development. If I go this one, you see if I go to the raw version of this one applies to those files. So let's say you ask Copilot to do something and Copilot will start working on the C# file. The extension is C#. So this instruction will be automatically part of this context. You don't need to do anything. And in that context, you see how to build this C# projects, how to use C# files. So it will explain some best practices here. But if it is running in a TypeScript, so this will be out of context. If it's running on a Java, this will be out of context. But if Copilot is running on .NET, C#, this will be part of the context. So if you go to the debug mode, this chat debug, if you check the context, you will see these instructions also. Okay, so it's a file-aware extra context for you and running at the background. You don't need to do anything. You see, there are tons of instructions here. I go to instructions. I can't. Why? Yeah. Okay. For example, what I like here, Control F, for example, secure. GitHub Actions, secure coding OWASP guidelines. So whatever I develop, I want to implement some secure design principles in my code. So I always install this one, secure coding instructions, open, and it will be installed GitHub/instructions, security and OWASP. So this is the instructions for applies everything. That's star. Or you can also take this instructions folder inside another folder. Let's say you have a microservice architecture or multi-tier application. You have a database project, you have a front-end project, you have a back-end project. So you can create instructions inside the backend, and you can place C# instruction inside this one. On the front end, Vue or React instructions, so on and so forth. It will take it hierarchically. Okay. Also, what I like, also accessibility. Accessibility instructions. I want my web application accessible to everyone, right? Click open. Yes. GitHub instructions, accessibility. This is the accessibility standards and implements everything in my application. So whenever my Copilot generate a user interface, it needs to implement those accessibility standards. And it comes from these instructions. Good? Good. These are the instructions which you don't need to do anything. It will be automatically part of the context. What else? No. So whenever you ask something Copilot in the agent mode, when Copilot work on the files, this instruction, accessibility instruction will part of this context. So whenever Copilot try to develop something, it will take consideration of these instructions, accessibility instructions also at the background. Okay.
Do you have multiple instructions?
Yes, unlimited. But if you use multiple instructions, it will increase your context window. You see here, context window, and each model has a context capacity. If your model's context capacity full, then GitHub Copilot will automatically try to summarize your context again. If we have a loss of instruction, it will take a lot of time to summarize all of those instructions and put it into your context. So you need to be careful about what to use, what to not. That's why your instruction needs to be clear. File the extensions, also folder structure. You shouldn't use everything on the top level. Be careful about this one.
Tokens consumed. Tokens.
Tokens, what do you mean token?
The tokens consumed. This
Yes.
will increase with the
Yes, each model has a,
instruction we are using. If I increase the number of instructions,
yes, of
this
course.
will also increase the utilization of tokens, right?
Definitely, yes, exactly. And each model has a different token capacity. So if you go, for example, where was this model configuration? Somewhere here, model picker. So manage models. So if I open the Copilot, you see the context size. Each model has a different context size. So you need to be careful what to use and how to use. Okay, these are the context size for each model. For example, this one. Yes. What is this one is doing? Is it working? Alas, finish. Okay, hello. Okay, while this one is still going on, let's switch to here. What else? No, I was here, right? Okay. So what else do we have? We talked about the agents. We talked about the prompts. We talked about instructions. Hooks. What are those hooks? Hooks, automated workflow triggered by, no, I'm just kidding. Hooks is something new. I didn't try this one also. So in Copilot, we start giving some extension point to the Copilot, which you can attach your tools to specific actions before Copilot runs. end of Copilot runs, between the Copilot runs, we give an opportunity to developer to include something or to take some actions. For example, you want to send email to your manager whenever your Copilot session ends. So you can integrate this Copilot with a tool which will take the active context and send it to your manager. With that, your manager will see that you are not wasting the organization money. Okay, so this is the awesome hooks. Again, you can use these hooks or you can build your own hooks. It was somewhere here, hooks. Click the hooks, session start, user prompt submit, pre-tool use, post-tool use, pre-com, blah, 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 blah. So these are the events exactly, which you can hook your tool. And why do we need it? Because you can do it with the MCP also, but Copilot is not deterministic. LLM is not deterministic, right? Sometimes it can call the tool, sometimes it will not. We can't 100% be sure. But with these hooks, you are 100% sure that at the end of every session, you will trigger something outside. This tool will trigger it and send an email to your manager, for example. That's what hooks are for. Okay, let's say you want to run a PowerShell script, for example. It's up to your imagination. This is something new. I also haven't tried yet. Okay, now I believe my plan is ready. No, it's still working on. You see functional requirement, non-functional requirement, security, cloud native. Hello. Okay, what else? While this is planning continue, skills. Skills is something new. This is like a tool set that you can use in your Copilot session. It also includes some tools that you can use in your session. So it's like, for example, you want to instrument your web application with application insight. Click this one. It's a markdown file, skills.markdown, MD. On top of it, there are some folders inside it. This is markdown. Okay, this is explanation, how this skill is, will use this script. So if you go down the script, modify the application code, okay, use this PowerShell file, use this bicep file, explain it here. This is the prescription, and this is the scripts. This is the PowerShell script. Is that right?
On traffic.
Ready?
I don't know what we're gonna do.
I can, it's because of Ramadan. How much?
I guess so.
No, I can continue. No problem for me, but I believe, but I'm not sure for them. Now, this is PowerShell script, which my skill will run it in my session. Again, with that, my session will use some deterministic tools to act in your local development environment. Is that clear? For example, but the installation of this skill is not, it's not that one click. You need to go ahead and then download all of them and put it into your skills folder. Okay. For example, yeah, these are all the folders. What else? For example, there's one here, Azure Resource Visualizer, for example. This will analyze your resource groups on the Azure, and it will generate an architectural diagram for you. Let's say you deployed something, you ask the Copilot to deploy your application to Azure. It deploy it, but you don't have the diagram. You want to put it into your PowerShell, not the PowerShell, PowerPoint. So you can come here, go to this Azure Resource Visualizer, connect to your Azure, take your resource group, visualize it for you with a mermaid chart, and you can put it into your PowerPoint. What else? Create a web form for you. You see there are lots of files, but it will help you to create a web form application. Again, diagram generator, humanizer. But that GitHub issues. This is another. Create, update, manage GitHub issues using MCP tool. So you can create issue with the prompt, or you can do it with this skills. It's up to you which one do you want to use it. Yeah, these are the things. Meeting minutes, code references, Microsoft Docs, tons of things. Okay, this is the skills. Anyway, hello, still working on it. Hello. What else? It's also doing some correction in my script also. This one is running. Okay. The skills inside. So if you go to the skills, it says that each skill is a folder containing a skill MD. Skills might include helper scripts, code templates, or reference data. Okay. How to use it? Copy the skill folder to your local skill directory. That's how it works. Okay. And how do you reference it? In the chat window, you can name it, you can call it by its name. Okay. So you can say go ahead and generate a diagram from my Azure this resource group. So it will automatically go to the skills folder, fetch this data, and generate it. Okay. That's how it works. On top of it, we have plugins. Okay. This plugins is also coming. I believe this is from the another vendor, maybe from Anthropic. I'm not 100% sure, but it's coming from another provider, and GitHub is trying to apply the same things. Again, this one includes folders, some instructions. It's like a package. So let's say you are developing Azure Cloud development. You will download this package, and the installation is with the command line CLI, command Copilot CLI. You will download this plugin package in your folder, and you will have slash commands, you will have agents, you might have some prompts. It's a package. You can download in one shot into your folder. Okay, and it's supported by other vendors also. Custom agents that have been created by GitHub partners, for example. See lots of different Java developments, for example. Java docs, JUnit, Spring Boot, Java projects. So it will do it for you. And everyone is, includes its own plugins here. And cookbook recipes, it's again, short prompts which help you to write a proper prompt for you. But if you go to the GitHub Copilot, for example, we have also GitHub Copilot chat cookbook here. And let's say you want to create a template or you want to create a diagram, but you don't know how to give a proper prompt for this one. Check this one, example scenario and example prompt. Okay, copy this one, go to Copilot and paste it. And then it will generate a diagram for you. I don't know why it takes a lot of time to generate a plan for it, but I believe there is an issue with the folder itself. But anyway, let's go ahead and create a new chat. Okay, and I will say that go to agent mode and paste this Copilot. Create a mermaid Gantt diagram that covers a period of blah, 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 blah. And then it will generate a diagram for me, a Gantt diagram. Yes, this is my Gantt diagram, right? So, and then you can go ahead ask to include this Gantt diagram into your Markdown file, for example. It will go and include it for you.
So Fatih,
Tell me,
based on what did it create the Gantt chart? Can you zoom in a little bit, by the way? I have eyesight.
which one?
First of all, can you zoom in a little bit? And then, based on what did it generate the Gantt chart? Like, what do you have there?
It's a dummy.
Okay.
It's a dummy. I just said, create me a Gantt diagram,
Huh?
covers this,
Mhm.
include 5 pages. It's a dummy, nothing.
Okay, and then,
What you can do is, let's say you have a plan,
yeah,
and you can ask this to go ahead and create a Gantt diagram according to my plan. And using this,
you like just an image, or is it something I can edit and
yeah, it will
plug into
generate
another
a
software?
mermaid image for me.
Okay, mermaid, okay,
Mermaid, yes.
okay.
Mermaid.
Okay, so you can actually get the file and then edit it.
Well, you
Nice.
can ask it to create it in a Markdown file also. Okay. So this one is, what is it doing? It's still doing an implementation plan. While this one is doing, any question?
Yeah, but you gotta keep stalling for the next 10 minutes.
But don't ask me question just for the to buy some time, because I have other things to talk about it.
Okay, great. Keep
On
going.
top of it,
Pizza's not here yet.
what else? I talked about MCP server, custom instruction. Okay, we talk about, okay, there's another. Skills is more details. Yes, it includes instructions. It can include, and skills also include some tools inside folders. So you can put a PowerShell script, and inside the skills, you can say that while you are creating a plan, let's assume that it's a planning skills, right? When you create a plan, go ahead and use this PowerShell. This PowerShell, go and create a Markdown file for you. And you can also have some templates in the templates folder. So you can, in the skills, you can say that, go ahead, use this PowerShell script to create a plan in the planning folder, but this plan needs to use this planning template, which is inside the template folder. Okay, and then it will do it for you. It will use a PowerShell, use a template inside the template folder, and generate a plan for you. For example, skills is more advanced than the instructions. Okay. And let me see, still working on it. Okay, while this one is working. Oh, okay. Now, what else? There's another thing, yeah, that I suggest you to have a look at it is GitHub/spec kits. I need to find it first of all. Let me search it. GitHub spec kits. Yes. Let me open this one and open this one. So this is called spec-driven development with GitHub spec kits. And the repository of the spec kit is yes, GitHub spec kit. Okay, what this one is doing. There's a video about this one. It will show you how to install this command line interface. There's a command line interface just for this specify. Okay, it's a CI tool, CLI tool. Let me this one. Allow all commands in this station. Let's do this. So what you will do is, first of all, you will install this UV tool, installing UV. Okay, you can install it with the PowerShell. Okay, after you install this UV, it's a Node.js runtime tool, something. Okay, after you have it, then in the UV tool, you will type this one to install the spec kit. So I will open this one. I already have UV in this PC. I think I have it. Yes. If I have the spec kit, it will go and update it. Okay. It's installed. Now, this spec kit will have multiple steps. So let me come back to here if it explain. Okay. Yes. I have a notes here. Let me take it from there. Yes. So this is the first one. It will initialize a project for me with this spec kit. So I will go back to here, go to the source repos, and then let's say, okay, QC dash spec demo, cd AQC spec demo, then I will type this one. So what am I doing here is that I'm calling this specify tool, which I just installed, and the name of my project is Northwind Revamp. Okay, as an AI tool, use the Copilot. But if let's say you have an Anthropic, you can use Anthropic, other AI tools, whatever, Google, Gemini, you can choose it. Go and check the documentation, which tools are supported. As a script, I will use PowerShell because I'm running in the Windows. If you are running in a Linux, you can ask for Bash, macOS, different tools. Again, go check documentation. So it will go ahead and generate a project called Northwind Revamp for me. Okay, let me make it bigger. And then project is ready. And then go to project folder, cd Northwind Revamp, start using / command. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go cd Northwind Revamp. I'm in the main folder and open it, another code window. It will open a Visual Studio Code for me. I will see a spec folder and VS Code folder. In the VS Code folder, nothing. In the specify folder, you will see some markdown files, some scripts, and templates. Okay, so zoom. Good. Yes. So those scripts, it's actually this specify was introduced before we introduce skills and we introduce plugins. Because right now, plugins and skills are doing something similar. Before we didn't have these features. Now, I'm not sure if they will continue to work on this spec kit, but check this one, check the announcements. Or most probably, maybe instead of having these folders, they will go ahead and migrate this spec kit as a skills or as a plugin, most probably. So what this one is do, come back to here. These are, okay. The first command is spec git constitution that you need to run. Okay, come back here. And here I will go ahead. What you can also do, another tip trick, you can go ahead and you can say instructions and chats, and you can ask to generate an agent instruction. If you do that, it will go ahead and read your folders, and it will generate an instruction to help the Copilot to understand what's going on in your folder. So right now, what I'm doing this, what I ask this in Copilot, go ahead and create an instruction. It will go and see that I'm using specify as a tool, so it will help me to use that one also. But without instruction, that's okay. That's also okay. Okay, it will give me more. It will give more context. This is running. Let me go back to this one. Okay, this one is finished. Now, I have a plan. I will return back to specify later. Okay, this is my plan. Now, I can go ahead and it was prompt, right? I can run this one. So this prompt will go ahead and create an issues in my GitHub repository using this plan, right? There's a play button here. Or you can say that in the agent mode, sharp, create GitHub issues, feature from implementation plan by using feature microservice app.1md. This is my plan. So that's better because I will give a specific context right now. I ask the Copilot to use this my prompt with this plan. So it will go ahead and generate a GitHub issues inside this plan. So I'm going to close this one. So this is my plan, right? There's the rest of my plan. Yes. So it will generate all of those plans for me. Still running. You see 17 implementation phases. So I have 17 phases. I assume that there's a 17 phases here. I don't know where those phases are, but it will go ahead and do it for me. Okay, this is running. Let's go back to the spec kit. So this is my instructions. I'm going to save this one, close this one. I have this Copilot instructions. Now here, what I will do is I will go ahead and I will use this specify. Come back to my cheat sheet. Yes, I'm going to do this one. Spec kit constitution. Declare principle of clean code, simple UX, responsive design, microservice architecture, test driven development. Project must use Microsoft modern cloud ready framework. If I go to specify, and if I go to this memory, I will see this constitution. So I will ask the spec kit to fill out this constitution, and this constitution will be my constitution in this project. And as you know, constitutions will not be changed. And so these are the rules in my application. So now it will fill out my constitution with all of those things that I wrote here. Let me switch the other one. Still working on it. Switch to spec kit. Now we will see that this constitution will be changed. Still editing. So while we are waiting, let me ask the question. So I will give it to you. You have time. Okay. Not you. You have the whole series of Microsoft subs and yes, souvenirs. What else? Okay. By default, how many mods do I have in the Copilot editor?
Cloud local agents,
Cloud?
Cloud ask plan agent.
Your wife got it a lot of time. I will not.
Thank you so much.
What's your name?
Abhishek Pathak.
You got it, right? I know. Okay, that's done. So my constitution is, you see, it's changing it. You see? Working on it. While this one is working, let me ask another question. What are the skills? What are the skills for? Show your hands. Not human. Someone else. Someone who doesn't know. What are the skills? Okay, tell me, what are the skills?
Skills has everything like instructions, and then we can have templates. It's a bigger version of instruction where we can have everything, where we can go to that if we want instruction along with templates, along with something else. So it will do all the stuff like go into the. Thank you. That's what I wanted.
I also try. So basically skills are like,
But you will not get a second one.
yeah, I just want to try.
Okay, right.
So basically skills are, what I understood is like kind of templates. Like we generally do error handlings or whatever the existing things that can be a redundant work. So templates can be used as a skills, while instructions are like basic guidelines that should be followed. So
Yeah, skills is like a broader concept. It has much more than instructions. You can use some tools, extensions, scripts, templates within skills. So for example, this spec kit, actually it's a kind of skills, right? But when they announced this one, skills wasn't there. As I told you, most probably they will convert this one either a skill or they will make it as a plugin. And they are changing it every day, by the way. Also, these agents, the previous names of those agents are chat mods. Then they introduce agents, then they migrate those chat mods into the agents, so on and so forth. You need to follow them. Okay. So that's done. Now I have a constitution. So if I check my constitution, right click, open preview, this is my constitution. So I built the context of my application. You see my constitution, clean code simplicity, test-driven development, simple, responsive UX, microservice architecture, minimum dependent, blah, 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 blah. These are my constitution. Now, after I have my constitution, I can go ahead and specify my initial application structure. It's like a, yeah, all right, good. I specify my initial application structure. This application should be a modern Northwind Trader application. Oh, we have two more. Go ahead. No chance. Don't give her anything. Okay? She already has it. Yeah. So it will go to the Northwind database and specify. So you specify what I'm going to develop. After you specify it, It will take a lot of time. Since pizza is a right, I don't want to make it long term. After you specify, you ask it to clarify. It will ask you some questions. So you told me to go to the north wind, but how about the authentication? How about this? How about that? It will give you some options to clarify. After the clarify, you ask it to plan it. So it will generate a plan for you. Then it will generate tasks for you. Then it will analyze these tasks, implement it. But before implementing, it will generate another branch. Inside, it will create a spec folder. Inside the spec folder, it will generate a spec branch with the spec number, and it will create a branch for it. Then it will go ahead and implement it, write the code for you. Then you will start beginning again, return to beginning. So you can think of it like a feature driven development. Each spec is another feature. So you split an application into different features. Each feature is a specification, and you will take each spec as a different branch. And then you will merge it back to the main branch. That's the idea. Okay, so check the spec kit also. Don't forget. You can, yeah, exactly. You can revert it, yeah. And then here you see which one is this one. Lots of hello. What's no? Okay, it's gonna go and create this. It will go ahead and create this issues in my GitHub repository. Anyway, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
But show your hands, okay? Yes, show me your hands. What is MCP? Not you. Give me more details.
This will be the mediator between getting our prompt and finding something outside and giving the instructions back.
Can I answer?
Oh, man. Sorry for you, my friend. You are married, right?
No. Yeah.
Basically,
No, wait.
Yeah.
So in the MCP,
It will convert our.
what are the three things in MCP? What are the three actors?
Yes, correct.
So I'm asking him, his answer is correct. He got it. He already got it, but I want more details. What are the three things in the MCP? Three actors. MCP client, this is the first one. What are the two?
MCP server.
MCP server. And
Agents.
MCP client, right? MCP server, and there's a data source, or let's say MCP protocol itself. Okay, this generates the issues. Let's check. Which one? This one? No, this one, this one. Yeah, issues.
It's an infrastructure. Can we say that instructions are behavioral guidance, while skills are like capabilities that your agent performs? That's the same as the conclusion you make.
No, instructions are like a prescription, doing a specific task. Only one task or couple of tasks, but skills are more comprehensive, which will also run some extra tools, for example, use some templates. Instructions cannot do it. Instructions is just a text instructions, but skills is using external tools at the same time, outside of MCP tools also.
So if I want to guide the behavior of how the agent reacts, that would be which one of them?
The behavior, then you will go to the agents. Okay, you will give a specific role. Okay, you solve the issues, right?
Okay.
So these are the issues. It generates by and inside the issues we have task. And then what you can do is you can assign it to the Copilot. Let's go to the first one, foundation and infrastructure setup, and assign it to the Copilot. Assign, what is it saying? The selected report has no commits or branches, so there's no valid parent. Okay. If we have it, so it will assign it to Copilot, then the cloud Copilot will go ahead and do those tasks on behalf of us. Okay, it will run on the cloud, not on the local. Okay, last question. What are the prompts?
Oh, sure. That's a very easy question.
Mm.
Kind of set of instructions.
We are all
Being
tired.
generous for Ramadan.
We are all tired.
Well,
We are all tired. We are all tired. We need to.
That's Ramadan. We're really excited for
Okay.
that. So we're
Uh,
done? Any
are we
last
done?
words?
Are we done?
I think the pizza is already. Thank you so much, Fatih, for the session on GitHub Copilot. And I personally use GitHub Copilot a lot but do we have Power BI developers here in the room or data developers, if you remember the last week's session? So if you don't know, Power BI has an MCP server. So whatever you were taught today, you could use Power BI's MCP server, open up